All right. Hey, everybody. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Revulsion's next patch. I'm planning on getting most of the changes that I want to get done tonight, which means that the patch will probably either come out, really early tomorrow or, sometime midday tomorrow, something like that. I want to get this patch out pretty soon. And I also kind of want to just go over some thoughts on Revulsion and stuff like that as well. One of the things is that I am paying attention to the feedback about the procedural generated content. I'm waiting to see fresh eyes in the project. I have to say before I have to on the project I have to see before I consider taking steps to either remove it entirely from standard missions or further tone it back. Okay. Um. So like I did get some feedback and it ended up getting up some poor reviews, and I apologize for that and stuff like that. The only thing is that I really do feel like um I do feel like it does add to the game, but if you guys don't agree with me, make it known. I mean, although with that said, there are some changes that I'm about to make because after playing the game pretty extensively by myself, and just actually playing everything and trying to get up to the level 50 cap, I have some actual feedback on my own game, and not all of it is the greatest, and I'm going to try and make some changes based on my own feedback as well. So there is some good feedback here. The enemy spawn. This one is actually really interesting because the enemies actually don't spawn in previous areas unless it's a dynamic event. But after playing the game for a really long time, you'll notice something. The enemies wander around. And it's not something that is immediately obvious, but if you walk up, kind of close to a doorway and you listen, you'll hear footsteps because they're walking around. They're not just like standing in place waiting for you. They kind of just lumber all over the place. So what this may end up actually resulting in every once in a while is like, you're nearly dead and you're going to run back to the spawn point, to the fast travel node, and you're going to try and reset so that you can get all your ammo and health and stuff back because you just got your butt kicked by a bunch of chain gunners or something stupid like that, right? And then there's a fucking, a hell beast just sitting there in their fucking room. And like, what the fuck? Like every once in a while, I am convinced that Revulsion just wants to fucking kill me. And I don't know if you guys are playing the game, like if you're experiencing the same things. I'm pretty sure you probably are. But it sometimes it just really feels like, what the fuck was this? Are you serious? There's a goddamn hell beast sitting next to the fucking fast travel. Where did he come from? I know for a fact I didn't spawn him. I think it's because these guys are wandering around. I think I think it's because they just walk around. You really gotta check those corners, man. Oh my god. And it really does actually kind of result. There are moments in the game where I'm just playing and it's just like I just get so royally fucked. I don't even know. Like I'll just turn a corner and maybe there'll be like right at that very moment there's a an evil eye just bam right into my face and I just die. All right? Stuff like that just happens sometimes, and but the enemies actually are not spawning anymore outside of dynamic events. So if the music doesn't change, he just wandered there. He just came from another room off to the side and just walked in. He just waltzed his ass right into some spot where you thought you cleared it, but he really wasn't cleared. Um, I'm going to address this, the amount of items to carry. I'm going to buff both default carry weight and the and endless armors buffs, and I'll reduce the number of ambushes in like the first two or three levels when it comes to the random gen stuff. Thank you for the feedback, by the way. I really appreciate it. That kind of stuff really does help me, and especially since a lot of the time there's been a lot of silence. I hope I haven't scared too many people away from the game, or maybe a lot of them are just done. Like I've noticed that if you look at the amount of hours played, most of the people who gave me the most feedback back then, they've already put like 30 to 100 hours into the game, and That's a lot. So I have a feeling that a lot of my bigger, my bigger fans, or at least the bigger fans of the game, are already kind of done with the game. They've already got their fill. I wouldn't be terribly surprised. I need to get some fresh blood. I need some new blood here. And it needs to happen after I make the following changes. All right, so here's the other things that I'm gonna be doing. For one, I made a new thread here. What do you believe are the weakest items and weapons in the game, and how would you buff them to bring them up to par with stronger options? I'm looking for ideas. All right, because there are some guns that I noticed that I never really use, like the acid cannon. The acid cannon doesn't really, I mean, it's great against demons. It doesn't really convey it very well, knowing that, like especially early on, you don't run into enough demons anyway, and you're giving up your rocket launcher, which is probably one of the best things for taking out, assault, the assault zombies and the chain gunners, right? Like, my God, man, I always resort to the rocket launcher anytime I'm dealing with any kind of an armored enemy or anything like that. That does change as you get way later in the game, but it takes a long time to get that far in. So, it's like I'm going to be buffing a couple of guns. So, further reduction in the random gen levels that appear between handcrafted levels. Now, in my opinion, like, the game's actually too long now. I've kind of gotten a little bit I've overdone it a bit as far as like the number of random gen levels. Like, after playing extensively, I like the random gen levels between the handcrafted maps because they give like a change. But right now, there's two of them in a row, and I'm gonna reduce that down to just one at a time. So it'll be introduction level, and then random gen, mid-tier level, handcrafted level, and then after the mid-tier handcrafted level, you get one more random gen level, and then you get the end, and then the final, where the mission's over, and you collect your rewards. I'm gonna do that instead of, because right now there's two random gen levels in a row. I'm reducing it down to one. I think that's fine. Actually, I think that's gonna feel a lot better because the random gen levels, they don't, they're not short maps. Like, I have found myself spending 40 minutes just beating one random gen level because you die a couple of times, or who knows what happens. Like, they're not small. They're fairly large in size in general. Like, there's a lot to bite, you know, when it comes to all that stuff. I'm gonna buff the base inventory space on all classes, and I'm gonna buff the endless armor buff on carry weight. So endless armor increases your carry weight, but it's not by a significant amount. I'm gonna buff it up, maybe double it, so that if you do wear some endless armor, you can increase your carry weight pretty significantly. And at the same time, when I'm also buffering the default inventory space for all the classes, I'm going to make it so that the scout has the same, so all three classes have the same exact carry weight. To me, it doesn't make sense to change that very much. Maybe it makes sense to have like a small difference between the classes or something like that, but I'm definitely going to normalize it. I'll have to see how it feels, but I'm just go ahead and do that. The abort mission for infinite dungeon, it just needs to be reworded. I just need to make it say something different. It needs to, like, say progress, because when it comes to the infinite dungeon, really all you're doing is you're just completing floors. Every 3 floors you get a reward, vending machine, right? And it's kind of like an end game like thing. The infinite dungeon utilizes really challenging like settings for the infinite dungeon, and it gets tougher and tougher as you keep going higher and higher and all that. But it's like, I'm just going right now, when you wanna when you wanna exit the infinite dungeon, it says abort mission, which doesn't make any sense. I don't want to abort mission. I just want to save progress. Save progress and exit. Fewer ambushes on very early random gen levels. Okay, orbital strike sucks. I I think it needs a buff, and it's going to get a very significant buff. Minigun, I can't justify in my mind right now using the minigun over the rocket launchers at the moment. You know, you're dealing with armored enemies, you're dealing with all kinds of stuff. Plus, its ammo consumption is really intense. If you're using the minigun, then you can't use the SMG, which is a fantastic weapon. You can't use the auto pistol, which is a fantastic weapon, because you'll run out of ammo for both of them at the same time. The minigun's getting a pretty sizable buff. The railgun's going to get a buff as well. I'm not really sure exactly what I want it to be, but it'll probably have a faster rate of fire, maybe a higher damage capacity as well, and a larger magazine size, so that it almost like doubles your max ammo capacity in terms of like whatever. It'll still be a really hard hitting weapon, but it'll be a hard hitting weapon that is a bit more reliable and isn't redundant with the sniper rifle. The sniper rifle is already a really great weapon, but I want to buff it further to make it so that it really does make sense to just run around with a sniper build. I want to see people. I know that there are some players who've talked about running around with sniper builds. I want them to actually like really really kick ass with the sniper build. And the acid cannon. Well, the acid cannon is kind of in the same position. You have to choose it over a rocket launcher. Rocket launchers deal fire damage. They blow up zombies. You deal with a lot of minigunner guys and stuff like that. Like the acid cannon has to be good at dealing with those types of enemies. So, all right, those are the changes that I'm going to be working on tonight. I'm pretty sure I should have all of these done very soon. None of these are really terribly. There's a lot of them are just changing some variables. Orbital strike might take a little bit more attention because I'm actually thinking of making it so that like once you utilize the center of the orbital strike, it'll just either continuously go for a long period of time, just completely locking an area down, or maybe the shit just like seeks out all enemies that are in your immediate vicinity and just starts nuking them. So it's just like a big area of effect where it just keeps plopping rockets right down on the heads of every single enemy in your area for like 10 seconds or something. Something really significant because I don't know, it's kind of crap at the moment. So it may be overbuffed, and I highly suggest if you can get your hands on an orbital strike, you probably wanna do that to prepare for whatever the hell I'm about to do to it, because it may end up being a pretty interesting choice. All right, so with that said, those are the things that I'm going to be doing for Revulsion tonight. Expect a patch very soon, and the only other things I have to do, I have to update the icon. The icon's still using a monster head that's actually not in the game anymore. He's um, and I need to come up with I need to build a new release, a trailer for the game that better reflects the current state of the game and explains things and stuff like that. I don't know. I'll have to figure something out. I'm not super amazing at making trailers, and I don't really have much of a budget, so I can't pay anybody to do it. So I'm just going to try my hardest and see if I can get that done by the 15th. But that's really all that's left. If there's any more feedback, like you guys notice or anything like that, let me know. I will be getting. All right, I'm just gonna get as much done as I can. So, all right, hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. All that. All right, take it easy.